We do know if you do one session of cryo, you are going to have a great night's sleep. But it's when you do it consistently that we say it awakens the internal doctor in you, and that's when it helps to reduce inflammation, help with pain management, gives you the boost of energy that you're looking for.
Are you curious about discovering ways of making your life better? Then welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Nickman, and this is The Exploding Human. Listen in while I talk with all kinds of people in the fields of personal growth, health and healing, alternative therapies, psychology, spirituality, environment, and the future. I'm looking for those answers that make life better for everyone. You'll meet cutting-edge practitioners, doctors, artists, filmmakers, business people, and those who have overcome challenges. The brave, the curious, anyone who is out there helping us humans to explore, expand, and explode. Hey, welcome to The Exploding Human. My name is Bob Nickman. I have two guests today, Antra Getzoff in Latvia and Maria Ensebella in the UK. And they're going to discuss the healing power of cryotherapy and their new book, Reinventing Cool, How to Make Cold Your Best Ally Against Inflammation, Pain, and Aging. They're going to explain what cryotherapy is, why it's different than an ice bath, what actually happens in the body when you experience cryotherapy, and the various health benefits which ensue from this protocol. They also talk about specific cases where clients have had remarkable improvements from using cryotherapy. Let's jump into this. This is Antra Getzoff and Maria Ensebella. Here we are, all across the world, Latvia, London, and Los Angeles. Fantastic. I'm so glad you guys are here, and welcome to The Exploding Human.
Thank you for having me,
Bob.
Yeah. So, I know what I wanted to ask you first. We are going to talk about cryotherapy. How did you two guys meet?
Well, there's a wonderful conference that happens in Dallas, Texas every year. And back in 2022, I went along and I met Antra there, who was hosting the event. And Antra's known as the godmother of cryotherapy. So I had done a first draft of the book and thought, actually, I'd love for her to have a read of this. And she was kind enough to say yes, even though we hardly knew each other at the time. And she said, good first try, but how about we put some research, and some case studies to this. I'd already had some case studies from London Cryo clients that we had transformed their lives. She said, let's put some research behind this and give the people what they need. And then 3 years later, here we are. Actually, two years later, because it's taken a year to actually get the book printed and launched. So she was kind enough and we co-authored the book together.
All right. Well, we should say the name of the book, and we will do it again at the end to make sure. But say the name of the book, because this is what we're going to be talking about.
It's Reinventing Cool, How to Make Cold Your Best Ally Against Inflammation, Pain, and Aging.
Okay. Well, I've had all those things. Okay. Now here's your.
Have you tried cryotherapy yourself? Sorry, Bob.
No, go ahead. You go.
Have you tried cryotherapy yourself for any of these things?
Let me tell you what I've done. I did a cold plunge in ice water. I even did an episode on it. I went and did the cold thing. I don't know how long I was in there. They timed me, so I made it through the whole sort of whatever that was. I don't know if it was 3 minutes or 5 minutes. I don't know what the timing was. Mm-hmm. It was incredible. It was really intense. And it felt like my entire body was being pinched. Every single piece of my skin, other than my head, which was out of the water. But and then when I got out and was kind of walking back to my car, a lot of emotional release, which was incredible. And the energy was incredible. I felt amazing. I never did it again. I don't know why.
A cold plunge is very brave for a first timer, especially full time. It could have been 3 minutes. But the modality that we represent is actually delivering very similar benefits to cold plunge. It's a little different, so they should not be confused with each other. It's not ice bath on steroids in our case, as many people like saying. But you suffer less and you potentially get more benefits. So Obviously, you have to do it regularly, though. One time salad meal is not going to lose you weight,
Right.
and one
Yes.
trip to the gym is not going to make you muscular. So that's the
Well,
same
I guess you
principle.
would incorporate it into your lifestyle on
Good
a
too.
whatever needed basis, that works for you.
Exactly. We do know if you do one session of cryo, you are going to have a great night's sleep. But it's when you do it consistently that we say it awakens the internal doctor in you, and that's when it helps to reduce inflammation, help with pain management, gives you the boost of energy that you're looking for. But you do need to do it consistently.
Yeah. Now, is it a chamber that you stand in or lay in, or what is it? Because I know I see
It's a
businesses
chamber.
around that say cryotherapy, but I've never been in there. I'm really curious about it because I experienced it. It was an amazing. What's the protocol?
Because we are using super low temperatures, cold air of about minus 110 degrees Celsius, minus 166 in the US. Fahrenheit. So there is a need for specific equipment that is capable of delivering that temperature, maintaining that temperature throughout the day. And there are several types of devices used for that. The one that Maria has at London Cryo is called CryoSauna. That's like a cylinder filled with nitrogen vapor, in which you stand. Nitrogen is the cooling agent, but your head must remain above the edge, not to breathe it. And then there are electric chambers, fully electric chambers, which is pretty much like a phone booth, larger or smaller, which you enter for those 3 minutes of treatment, more or less. And then there is a hybrid model where nitrogen is used for cooling, but you don't get exposed to the nitrogen directly. So it's still a phone booth, but cooled by nitrogen. So basically 3 different models. But yes, in all cases, it's a specific equipment that is required.
Are you entering this chamber, phone booth, whatever we call it, and it's already at that temperature, or do you go in and it's cold and it gets colder?
Normally we pre-cool it. It gets to about minus 100 degrees. And then once you're doing the session, that's when it drops the temperature to the target temperature between minus 110 to minus 130 degrees. But it's already
That only happens in nitrogen-cooled devices,
correct.
because if there is an electric chamber in use, then that temperature remains stable throughout the day. If you are a treatment provider and you have equipment on your premises, then you would cool it down before the first client, and then you would maintain it cool throughout, so that every time when somebody comes in and is ready for treatment, you can provide it readily, because cooling in that case takes much longer than in nitrogen chambers.
Wow. This is what I was thinking before I went into the thing. What if I have a heart attack? What if it's too cold and it freezes my arteries, and the woman that was doing it started laughing. She goes, "No, that doesn't happen. That's not what's going to happen." And it didn't. Although it kind of took my breath away for a minute, and she had me breathing kind of in a meditative way. I don't know if it's the same with you guys, or people are just, what are they doing while they're in there? I know it's only 3 minutes, but
the mindset and making sure that a client is calm before they actually step into the cryo cabin. And I would assume that when you're doing cold water immersion, you would do the same thing. You would do it with someone. You wouldn't, I guess some people do just throw themselves in and try it out. But depending on your setting, you would do it with someone who was trained or a professional in that environment. Definitely with cryotherapy, you need to be with someone who's going to guide you through your session. And that keeps the safe element as well. So you're setting the mindset, explaining it's mind over matter. If it's a client's first time, you do explain, yes, it's going to be freezing cold. Obviously, but that's when you're going to get the benefits. You have to shock the body. We say triggers fight or flight mode. So whilst you're in there, you're doing your 2 to 3 minutes. At London Cryo, for example, we're in the room with you. We will talk you through the experience so you understand what's happening at the same time. Before you know it, your 2-3 minutes are up. It's time to come out. And that's when you get the rush of endorphins and you feel really good after you've done your freezing cold 2 to 3 minutes.
I must add to what Maria said, that the feeling, although chamber is very cold, much colder than water, it does not feel as cold water because air does not transfer heat as fast as water. So the difference is actually, if we are talking just about air and water, 24 times faster water takes heat away from your body than air does. That is the reason why we are using temperatures that are much lower than ever possible in water. And also the comfort level comes with that, because in cold air, the initial feeling is like you are exposed to open freezer, or you have entered the freezer. It is chilly, but it does not take your breath away to the level cold water does. And we can responsibly say that because as cold lovers, we have tried everything. And I personally do cold water immersion on a regular basis as well. So just for different reasons.
Yeah. My wife said, she goes, I'll never do that. She goes, I hate being cold. She hates being cold. She hates it. Loves being hot. That's who she is. So I go, well, you probably shouldn't do it.
No, but for me, like I hate the cold as well, but I do cryotherapy almost every day. But it's different to being exposed to the cold temperatures outside. And once you experience the benefits and the adrenaline rush and how amazing you feel, and you know the benefits, you do put yourself through your 2 to 3 minutes of cryo. But I can't have a cold shower, for example. So, hats off to you too for doing your cold water and cold showers.
I didn't know what I was getting into, but I had to do it. I was happy because my friend who kind of turned me on to it, he's half my age, and he didn't make it to 3 minutes, and I did.
Oh, well done you.
So I felt really, super masculine.
So you should.
You beat a guy who's 30 years younger than you. It's fantastic.
Of course.
What's happening to my body when I do cryotherapy? What actually goes on? What's the physiology of what happens?
Yeah, answer it very briefly, and then Maria can add. So we are relying on thermal shock in this case. So the body goes into a brief thermal shock, being naked and exposed to that kind of temperature. So in that environment, when skin receptors send the signal to the brain about the temperature that is surrounding the body, the reaction is immediate, it's involuntary, and it is about protecting the body from this not normal to survive environment. So what happens right away is, as Maria said, fight or flight mode. So your resources of the body get all mobilized to protect the core temperature from falling. And that is the most important thing to keep you alive. So you probably have heard of cases when people get found in the mountains after an avalanche several days later, covered, buried in snow, and they are still alive, although they may have lost a limb in those circumstances, but they are still alive. And that is only because the body always prioritizes survival. And in this case, we kind of create that perceived threat to survival for a very brief period of time, so that the body reacts exactly the same way. So that's massive blood circulation boost. And there are many other physiological reactions, a cascade of reactions actually that comes with it. So we are relying on stimulus, reaction, and then adaptation, and then after you are out, relaxation and restoration. These four stages you undergo every time you experience cryotherapy, and they are the ones that deliver the long list of benefits.
You always hear about inflammation in all kinds of medical situations, or with the body. So what goes on that inflammation is
mitigate it? So what is the reaction of the body that makes the inflammation go away?
Number of things that can happen is, for example, you're getting the blood when it flows back to the core to protect the organs, the blood gets oxygenated. So that oxygenated blood flows back out to areas where there is any pain or any inflammation, and that helps to heal that area and speed up recovery, for example. So that's how it helps with reducing inflammation in the body. Which then you get the benefits. I mean, it helps you have a great night's sleep, which also is great for many reasons, for your mental wellness, for your physical wellness. So there's those benefits that come from doing it, and they will help with lowering inflammation in the body.
We're not doctors, so we cannot talk much about all the biological markers, and there have been blood tests showing that inflammatory markers in blood change as a reaction to cryotherapy session. But I personally always explain it to regular people like ourselves that the biggest benefit comes from blood circulation boost. So if we have been injured or we have been living a sedentary lifestyle or so, blood flow throughout the body is not perfect and it's not even everywhere, right? And where that blood flow slows, there is also like a environment to promote processes like inflammation in that place, especially with physical injuries. And then if we are able to use that bow and arrow effect pretty much, because we take all the blood into the core to protect the core first, and then it all flushes back to the peripherals with force. So that blood gets to the tissue that is somehow impaired and helps it recover. So that would be a very simplistic but feasible explanation of what
I think
happens.
I think it was my wrist that was really sore when I did the cold plunge, and it was like totally fine when I got out. When I was walking around, I don't even feel this anymore. It was pretty immediate and pretty pronounced improvement.
That immediate result, especially when it comes to pain relief, that comes from slowing down nerve signal transmission. So cold is known as a powerful analgesic, right? And when you are exposed to cold, the signals simply don't get transmitted at the speed they were before. So your pain relief may be immediate, but we talk about several levels here. Immediate that kicks in right away, but may not last for very long. And then there are like medium-term and long-term effects that come from doing the treatment regularly and like training the body, if you will, to better performance. And actually the treatment is nothing but like bringing the best out of us, because the nature is super smart and we have everything we need to recover if we have been sick or injured or anything else happened in our lives, and we simply lose it over time, especially these days when everything is either heated or conditioned. We don't have this natural stress anymore in our lives. All the stress we have is emotional and financial and who knows what else.
Yeah.
And that kills us. The natural stress, the hormetic stress, as we call it, is beneficial.
Yeah, most of the stress now is, between your ears, what's going on, it's not like physical stress that so much. And I mean, I guess that's why exercise is so great, because you are stressing parts of your, I feel better after I exercise. It's just the way it is. So this is a whole other level of what would you call it? Resistance, in a sense.
Exercise, fasting, sauna. Everything that is not your like average regular environment. There is a reason why intermittent fasting has become so popular. That's also stress, and it's always explained that our ancestors never had food like every day, beginning of the day to the end, readily available. You just open the fridge and there it is. There were periods of fasting and there were periods of abundance. And we pretty much, with all these biohacking methods, if we can call them bring back that lost in an environment that is very necessary for all functions in the body to work.
It's pretty interesting that we take the things that we, from way back, the way we lived is, more simply before all this technology and, society improvement, if you want to call it that. And then now we biohack to get back to the thing that we were originally.
Yeah, they lived longer and had better quality lives, and so obviously that with all the interruptions that we have, we want to get back to a place where we do have stress-free periods and eating cleaner food and being healthier like they were back in those days. They seem to have done really well for themselves. So yeah, it's important to get back to that. We're not having all that processed food that does impact our health and stuff, which is so readily available these days.
Sometimes well, now it's gotten to the point I can't eat that stuff. If it's, I can't, I'm so used to eating healthier, cleaner, organic foods that, and I don't think it's psychological. I can taste the difference and I can feel the difference. And sometimes I don't even know, but until I try it. And then I'm like, something's wrong here. And I look at some of the aisles in the grocery stores, and like here's an entire aisle. I won't even go down this aisle because there's nothing here for me. I think of the cereal aisle, and I'm like, there's nothing nutritional.
The craziest thing of all is that the worse it is, the more it is meant for our children. So
yeah.
We are preparing a new generation of sick, fat people unless we do something about it. It's inevitable. You see what's happening, especially in the United States. I can say so responsibly because I lived there for a long time. I had to go through like a transformation process for myself because I simply foods, even the same brands that I was used to in Europe. So it is crazy what's happening commercially.
Well, it's all about convenience and money, and it's not about health. It's very sad that we've gotten so far away from that. I mean, you really have to do it yourself. It's not going to get done for you. That's for sure. It's all about just you're outside of the norm, because the norm is not normal.
I know, but it's really important that when we work that out, that we're passing that on to the younger generations, so they're learning from us, right? Although, they've got so much more exposure through social media about, all the bad foods and stuff. So, but, we try and live the healthy lifestyle and do it by example. And hopefully the next generation are watching that as well and not getting consumed by what's going on commercially out there.
Well, you would hope so. That would be great.
It would, in theory, yes. It would be great.
Yeah, but you also mentioned convenience. Convenience when it comes to the food. In our case, we also provide convenience because if you listen to people like Andrew Huberman, he will always stress that the best way of keeping healthy and maintaining a good life, get out there, get exposure to first rays of sun in the morning, go move and also get cold naturally, get hot naturally, but because our lives are so busy and full of things that simply need to be done. In our case, if you come into a cryotherapy center and you want that little boost of the system, all you need is 3 minutes plus the way in and out. You don't have to super plan your day or do anything like that. It's not the only way, but it is a very convenient way and very fast and very effective way to keep the body functioning at its best.
How often do you recommend or suggest that people might do cryotherapy for kind of an ideal benefit?
I always say everybody has their own cryo journey, so it does depend on why you're coming in. So if you're someone who has an autoimmune disease and therefore, you're in pain a lot, we would probably say 3 to 4 times a week initially, and then adjust that. I mean, the studies show it is between 10 and 20 sessions, consecutively is when you're going to start, getting the pain relief that you're looking for. If you're training for an event, obviously after your hard training sessions, and then reward yourself. For example, if you're doing the marathon, then come in the day after the marathon to get your recovery. If you're someone who is stressed out, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. So it does depend on, why you're coming in to do cryotherapy as to how often you should be doing it.
Yeah, I guess you got to experiment a little and see what works. Do you have packages where somebody, they pay by the month, or they, I'll take 10 sessions for X number of dollars? Yeah, okay. So like
we do. We do it like people will come in on, at an introductory and see how they feel. And then once you understand their pain point and why they're coming in, then you would recommend, if you need to do 10 sessions, you would buy a package. If you want to incorporate it as part of your lifestyle, then you can take out a membership. And a lot of us cryo wellness companies will all run on that model. Antra, would you agree? Because you do a lot of consulting on that. So would you agree that that's how they work?
Absolutely, I do agree. I am not in a position of like performing treatments myself. I am a B2B person. Maria is a B2C person. So we combined the experiences and knowledge on both sides. But as Maria said, there's quite a bit of research actually proving that if there is a particular problem that needs addressing, and it may be pain in particular, or really symptoms of some condition that you have that are not under control, then more is better. For a short period of time, let's say commit to minimum 2, better 3, 4 weeks of coming is as often as you can do it, and then just relax into more of a maintenance mode. I also have to say that because we are shocking the body every time when a cryotherapy session takes place, obviously you cannot keep shocking yourself over and over and over again. The body is very smart and it adjusts. So once you have been relying on that shock for a couple of weeks, then it is wiser to take a little break or to adjust the schedule so that the process is reset and the reaction remains as strong as you want it to. But when it comes to offering it to people, whatever works. Pretty much nobody sells single sessions except for like trial purposes. And then because we all know that if you go in just once, it's pretty much, it's interesting experience, but it's not going to deliver that result that you are seeking just from one session. So you need more sessions. And the question is how you get those more sessions. If you are there for a particular purpose, buy, let's say, a 20 pack, go through it, and then take a break or finish. If you want to feel good, and most people do, because that's 4-week period has been long enough for them to really realize that they do feel much better with cryotherapy than without. Then it can be a membership type of setup, and it's usually combined with other wellness treatments. It's very rarely
done on its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I also do hot yoga, infrared room, infrared heat, which I love. You pour sweat, but it's completely different than what you're talking about. But I'm wondering about, so they were doing cold plunges outside the yoga studio, so people would come out from all this tremendous heat, and then they'd get in the cold plunge. I didn't do it, but I'm wondering. There's benefits to both, obviously. Sometimes do people ever go in a sauna and then get in cryo, or is that too much of a shock? It seems like it would be.
It is. It is. We do the fire and ice package, we call it. So they will do an infrared sauna session. It's something I love to do all the time. So you would detox the body and enjoy a sauna session, and then go in to do cryotherapy.
Okay. All right. So, I'll be right over. Yeah. I'll be right there.
It does feel amazing. So, and it's really sets you up for a great day once you've done those treatments.
Okay. So what should somebody look for basically when they're trying to find a place?
I just think as long as it's a professional environment where everybody's trained, I think that's what you need to look for. But I'm all about the power of the cold. So it doesn't matter where you're going to do it, as long as it's a safe place. Like I'm all for it. Any kind of chamber or sauna that you're going to explore doing the sessions.
Sounds good to me. What's the training?
Yeah. Obviously, people have.
Oh, go ahead, Antra.
Training for the employees. Yeah. Obviously, if you are on the provider side, there is training on how to use the device. Yeah. Then there is training on how to do it safely, which is usually about intake, because there are some contraindications, and they need to be identified if they're if it's a case to prevent adverse reactions, or not to put the person at risk for no reason. And then there is training about the treatment itself, the physiology of it, the benefits of it. And obviously, if you go somewhere, you are the recipient, and you want to know, you want to ask these questions. And if you are met by a college kid who is there just to administer sessions and they cannot answer a single question, it will probably not be your best experience, and you will not be committing to those regular sessions, because you will simply not believe that it is doing something good for you. And so the training really, unfortunately, there could be more of it and more structured across the board.
I know I put all my employees through Antra's course to make sure that they qualify and understand how to do a cryotherapy session, because I think that's a really important. But I think you'll find that a lot of wellness centres are, proud owner operator, so there is a level of care that's to run the locations. So I think we're pretty much all really take care of our clients and make sure we understand, what we're doing when we put a client through cryotherapy.
Our good colleague says that whatever cold you can get exposed to regularly is the cold to choose. So if you can choose between cryotherapy chambers because you live in Los Angeles, and there are many, as you said, then you'll probably go for one which you prefer, because there are different experiences, and a cold can be delivered and heat can be taken away from the body in different ways. And one is the temperature itself. And if the temperature is, let's say, milder, the wind can be added. And that speeds up the cooling process. So you may be a person who likes that very cold but kind of standing environment, and you may be a person who prefers the blow, the chill, that is much more kind of intense in terms of how it feels. And if you don't have any cryotherapy chamber around you, you may just go for a cold shower in the morning, or do cold plunge, or go for a swim in nature. That's another super popular way of getting the benefits of cold these days, the so-called winter swimming. But even if you live in Los Angeles, okay, it's nice and warm in summer, but in winter the water cools down. So if you do it all year long, you can still get everything that it has to.
I have two things I want to ask you that came up in my mind here. One is, can you put kids in this thing? Can kids do it? Have you ever done that?
I mean, they're still developing. And so unless they have a serious condition that they're coming in with their parents and their parents are consenting to do the treatment, we would allow that. But the general consensus is that we don't allow children to do it because their bodies are still developing. So we prefer not to.
There's only one exception in this case. If your kid is a hardcore athlete, there are many who start at like 12,
Okay.
14 because they get overworked, they get injured a lot, and then parents pretty much bring their children in. But one needs to understand on the operator's side that the protocol needs to be adjusted to the person. It doesn't only apply to kids, it also applies to men and women, people of different body build, people of different age, because we all react to cold differently. And I guess Maria doesn't like cold plunges so much because she doesn't have any fat on her. It is much easier to do if you have a little bit of padding around.
It's because I've been doing cryo for 8 years, so I got rid of all the fat. So there's a big bonus to doing cryo all the time.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm assuming no pregnant women in there. We don't want that. That's all. That's always the thing.
No,
if you're pregnant, don't do this.
No. Okay. You don't need to. You can do it after you finish breastfeeding.
Yes. Day after. Get in there.
Correct.
Now, I know it's in your book because you mentioned it. Case studies, my favorite thing. I love hearing about success stories, overcoming challenges. It's like, you go, people search for certain things and they try this and that, and then they find something that actually works for them. Give me some case studies. Let's see how excited I am. Can you tell?
I'll share one of my favorite stories is we had a client. He's an Italian gentleman that started coming into London cryo, and his family all suffered with high cholesterol from his father to his brother. And there was nothing that they could do, no medication. They were all on medication for it, but nothing was, helping with their levels of cholesterol. The only thing that my client did differently to his dad and to his brother was that he started doing cryotherapy. He went back to Italy and did some testing after a few months of being a member with us, and his levels came down. And his doctor, who was the family doctor, was completely shocked to see that it was only cryotherapy that he did differently, and it actually impacted his cholesterol levels. So for me, that's one of my favorite stories to tell of the impact of cryotherapy on a client.
It's pretty major.
Yeah, back in the day, I was also offering treatments in California. I actually lived in California. And when I started and when I was hands-on involved, there was one man who was told after a back injury while golfing that he will never, ever play golf again. And he was desperate to try whatever was available, and came and tried. And literally a week later, after regular cryotherapy treatments, he was back out and playing. And I also had a woman who had terrible psoriasis, like big purple patches all over her body, an older woman in this case. And 3 treatments later, we could barely recognize where the patches were. So it, like we have to be very clear that we are not healing or curing anything with whole body cryotherapy. That is not it. It is just the symptom relief. It is like help to the body, and there will always be a need for a complex approach. And by no means we are advertising don't go to doctor or don't take the medication that you have been prescribed. But there are so many cases when people turn to cryotherapy because they're desperate. One case is, for example, pain medications. I have quite a few cases through my circles of veterans who have been on very heavy pain medication for years. And then obviously if you are taking pain medication, your dose needs to increase and increase and increase because your body gets used to it. You don't get the relief anymore. And at one point there was a lady who was told no more. You cannot get a higher dose anymore because the limits have been exhausted. So these people then start like really looking around. Another trigger is they are being told you need a surgery and nobody wants a surgery like a hip replacement, for example, or something like that. And then they start doing alternative treatments just in hopes that it may somehow either prevent or postpone the surgery. And we see many of those cases.
There's nothing like desperation to get people to experiment and look for an alternative. It's it sounds like, it's the circulation piece of it that you were talking about earlier that helps with this stuff. Like there's like, even with psoriasis, and I'm not even close to knowing anything about it. But when I think about a skin eruptions and something on the skin, if there's, a lack of blood flow to a certain area, that would kind of make sense. And maybe that's not what's happening, but something's going on there that would mitigate something, because that's a pretty serious skin condition from everything I've heard about it.
The skin conditions, itching is the worst thing. I can only imagine how difficult it must be for a person to like be itching day in and day out, day and night. And when that itching goes away, and that is the first of the symptoms of skin conditions that goes away, and then after that, usually the visual improvement also follows. That alone is enough for people to become real lovers of cryotherapy, because such a relief.
What about things like PTSD and depression and things that are emotional? Because I know when I did that cold plunge, I was so clear and happy and elated, really, when I was walking back to my car. I'm like, I feel unbelievable. I haven't felt this way since I was like 10. When you're running around as a kid full of life, it's kind of like that. I mean, I don't know if that could be maintained, but what about that? Like, those types of things. Have you seen improvements in those situations?
We have clients that come in, they suffer from depression, and after doing a course of treatments, they are feeling much more, you get the endorphin rush. So you do feel much happier. It's helping you get a great night's sleep. And so, of course, you're going to feel better after, you have a few nights of great sleep. It's going to impact your mood and what you're able to get on with, and make you happier. Lowers cortisol levels, so you feel less stressed. So we have had a number of clients that come in with, depression or some mental wellness issues, and they all end up feeling better. At the beginning of the journey, we used to say we sell happiness, because everyone leaves London Cryo feeling happier than before they came in. So it does have that impact on people who do cryotherapy consistently.
Actually, if we talk about researched benefits, then depression and anxiety disorders show the most statistically significant improvements or reactions to cryotherapy. There are a few papers where they even say like suicidal tendencies were reduced by 80% over a course of treatment, which is, just think of it, it's huge, right? We also know from experience there are cases, not all doctors are open-minded to cryotherapy, let's say so, because there are some that will recommend that their patients do something extra to the medical treatment, and there will be doctors who said that's just snake oil, don't do it, it's not proven, it's not FDA approved, and whatever. But there are people who are battling addictions, and the physical part of addiction, when you are feeling that need for the next dose, that is the moment when whole body cryotherapy can be very instrumental. Because it again, through what Maria mentioned, the hormonal change, the rush of endorphins, which is happiness hormone. So it offsets that bad state that the person may be in a very natural way and very fast. So it's worth doing, trying at least, I would say.
Definitely.
It seems like something worth trying. A few times just to see if it works. I hear about, conventional MDs being skeptical about a lot of the stuff I talk about on this show. And I'm on the side of what works. So whether you want to call it, snake oil or not, if it works, who cares what it is, what the label you want to put on it. So, I'm a big experimenter with things. I like to try different things, see how they work. So now I'm going to have to try this. I haven't yet.
Yeah.
What if it grew my hair back? That would be amazing. It won't.
Or that localized cryotherapy.
I don't need my hair. I don't need it anyway.
You look great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You didn't see me before. I was gorgeous. Now I'm just okay. It's been a long time. Now I'm going to touch. You know how when you mention somebody's hair to them, they always have to touch it? Like, your hair looks great, both of you.
Yep, thank you.
You're not touching it. I thought you'd like adjust. Okay. So now we want to find out, is there a website or a recommended place for folks to visit if they want to find out more?
Reinventing.cool is the website of the book. So that's a place where links to the book can be found to order it, either ebook version or printed version. And then there on the website and also in the book, there are some extra links to talk, for example, about scientific proof. So there is a link to all the studies that have been published to date, or a link to contraindications. There are people who want to know whether cryotherapy would be a good fit for them in particular circumstances. And although nobody can answer that question better than one's physician, we still put everything together in the book that has been discovered and published and realized to date, so that people can make better informed decisions. That was actually the reason for us to write the book. There are so many questions. Should I do it? Should I not do it? How often should I do it? How could I or should I combine it with something else? And so on. We attempted to write the book in a very simple, down-to-earth language, so that even a grandma who maybe suffers from arthritis pain can read it and say, "Oh yeah, this makes sense. Let me try it," or not. So the best resource obviously is the book, but then there is Reinventing.cool website, and we are always there to provide more resources and answers if somebody feels like digging deeper.
Yeah. The book's also available on Amazon, both in the EU and in the USA as well. So you can grab a copy from the links on Amazon.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show. Reinventing Cool is the name of the book. It's not a jazz book. I thought maybe it was when I read the title. It's a cryotherapy book.
It is, yeah.
And you can get it all over the world. It's more expensive in the United States. Just know that.
It is. But do make sure you go and try a session. I'd love to have your feedback.
I like trying new stuff, so I will. You've pulled me into your world.
Amazing.
Sold.
And I hope you become addicted like we are. So yeah. It's a good thing.
All right. Well, very good. And I hope you guys get some sleep. Sorry about the late hours in your respective countries, but it happened. But we got it done. It's done. So I'm happy to have met both of you. What a wonderful talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Much appreciation for you folks listening to The Exploding Human. The website is theexplodinghuman.com. There's also a YouTube channel where you can listen. That is The Exploding Human with Bob Nickman. Once again, I want to thank Antra Getzoff and Maria Ensebella for being on the show. Make sure you check out their book, Reinventing Cool, How to Make Cold Your Best Ally Against Inflammation, Pain, and Aging. Have a great day. Thank you.